The trial that has captured the attention of people around the world will go on for at least another day. Jurors did not reach a conclusion today. It was their first full day of deliberating the fate of Karen Read. Thanks for staying with us this half hour. I'm Priscilla Casper.
And I'm Colton Bradford. The question here is there enough of a burden of proof to convict, or is there reasonable doubt, right? A lot of people might have believed that this would have been a fast process, but it appears the jury wants to take its time and get this all right.
And of course, there is so much evidence to go through. We're joined now by courtroom insider and commentator Sue O'Connell. Sue, so no verdict yet. Jurors went home for tonight, but perhaps maybe we can tell which way the jury is leaning based on the question they asked for the judge today. At one point, they came out and asked to see the SERT report. What does that question tell you?
Well, what it says to me, Priscilla, is that they are reviewing the evidence, which is exactly what you want jurors to do, right? Not just go right in and take a vote and not look back and see what the testimony was and what the evidence presented in the courtroom was. So what it says to me is that they are looking at aspects of this case. There was a lot of different information about the number of pieces, taillight pieces that were found on the lawn, where they were, how they were stored, and there were some small inconsistencies and some big inconsistencies. So I believe that that question was, hey, we're trying to put this together to figure out what happened. Of course, the rub here is there is no SERT report. There's no SERT report introduced into evidence. There might be one, but it was not introduced into evidence. So they went back having to figure out for themselves how those taillight pieces fit together and how it helps them to form their opinion on whether Karen Read is going to be found guilty or not guilty.
Well, and they know that people not only here but across the country are really going to analyze what led them to their decisions, right? So I want to ask you, Sue, there was a moment earlier today, an explosive moment in the courtroom. It was when Read's attorney, Alan Jackson, took issue with at least one of the verdict slips, right? So explain what a verdict slip is and why Jackson had concerns.
So a verdict slip is what they give every jury, and it lists what the charges are and what the possible ways that they can rule are, right? And on this verdict slip, it just had guilty and then all of the charges below it. It did not have not guilty, okay? So we know that if she's not guilty, they don't have to fill it out. That's what they've been doing here for a long time. I talked to a number of lower court judges this morning who say, well, their jury slips, their verdict slips say guilty, not guilty. Alan Jackson's argument is that it implies that the court wants them to find Karen Read guilty since they don't have a not guilty box, right? Now, if you had a pull-down menu, you would know that. But since we still do things with paper and pen here in Massachusetts, it was a problem. So he argued that. I mean, I will say that Alan Jackson should just come in and audit our entire court system. He realized that in this courtroom, 4 jurors, the one that we were in the big one, they couldn't see the witness's face. That's why we're in the small one. And he realized that this jury slip didn't really indicate guilty or not guilty. So maybe if he wants to retire, he can go around and audit all of our systems that have been in place for 9,000 years.
There's also,
but they did amend it.
Yeah, there's also something to be said, Sue, about simplifying this whole process, right? Like putting the words "not guilty" in front of them when they go back there and debate this.
I mean, there's so many questions here, and as we mentioned, you know, a lot of people at least assumed the jury would deliver a fast verdict. Of course, it sounds like they are taking their time. They're reviewing all the evidence. We know there's obviously a big crowd of Read supporters outside. How are they reacting to all of this?
Well, I think that, you know, anyone who tells you when a jury is coming back has no idea what they're talking about in any single case whatsoever, right? Because we've never talked to these people. We don't know who these people are. And I think a lot of people in the crowd here today came expecting there to be a jury verdict because they have already made up their minds outside. They're Karen Read supporters. They think it's not guilty, so they expected that to happen quickly. I talked to a number of people who were here on their paid time off expecting that there would be a verdict by the end of the day. They're not sure what they're going to do in the days coming forward. But look, this is what we want the process to be. We want the jurors to take their time, review the evidence, come to a conclusion, and not be rushed by any outside sources. If you're planning to come down here and hang out, just know no one knows when the jury is coming back. We won't know until we get called that there's a verdict. So use your paid time off properly.
Live from the front lines for us, our Sue O'Connell, like only she can. Sue, of course, thank you as always. And just a reminder for everyone, we're going to have the very latest on this trial, and we're going to take you inside the courthouse. If you missed any of what happened today between Jackson and Judge Cannoni as well, we're going to have much more coming up on Canton Confidential. That is at 7 o'clock right here and only on NBC Boston. You can also listen to it wherever you get your podcasts.